Hello and welcome back to Football Daily, where today we're going beyond the pitch and looking into the boardroom at football's most influential owners. 10. The Qatari Investment Authority. PSG are owned by the Qatari Investment Authority, who have so far invested over $1 billion into the Parisian club since 2011, and in turn completely changed the financial landscape of football. In 2017, Neymar ditched the Nou Camp to join PSG for a whopping €200 million, a switch that seismically changed the market. The transfer blew the market wide open as values of all other players adjusted to the new climate. We saw Virgil van Dijk cost £75 million and Philippe Coutinho valued at 142, whilst PSG continued their spending spree, adding €135 million teenager Kylian Mbappe to their ranks. Bankrolling success and buying trophies was nothing new in football, but the record signing gave the power over to the in-demand talent, now worth more than ever. Teams have now been forced to slap huge buyout clauses into contracts to keep their talent safe, like the £350 million hanging around Harry Kane's neck. But it also left the likes of PSG and Man City in a league of their own and widened the gap between the super clubs and the normally wealthy, making success now virtually impossible without massive investment. 9. Frank McCourt. Olympique Marseille are in fact the only French side to ever win Europe's most prestigious competition, claiming the Champions League in 1993. However, the terrain of French football has completely changed, with PSG's current 15-point lead at the top of Ligue 1 symbolic of their domestic dominance. However, Marseille owner Frank McCourt has made big promises that he will change the entire outlook and the Olympians will surpass the Parisians in the next 4 years. The American businessman who owns McCourt LP, McCourt Global, and has a net worth of $1.2 billion, bought the Ligue 1 club back in August 2016. It wasn't his first venture into sports, also owning baseball side LA Dodgers, and he's set to work straight away. McCourt has hired Jacques-Henri Hérault as president and made Rudy Garcia the manager, as well as breaking the club's record transfer fee twice, firstly signing Dimitri Payet and later Kevin Strootman. According to Sports Illustrated, ex-Barcelona sporting director Andoni Zubizarreta is his next target. The billionaire has pledged to spend €200 million over his first 4 seasons, and whilst his aspirations are ambitious for the club currently 25 points behind PSG, the future certainly looks exciting in the sunny south of France. Before we reveal number 8, make sure you're keeping up to date with football in France and all over the world by clicking the subscribe button with notifications on. 8. Sheikh Mansour. Manchester City owner Sheikh Mansour is worth an estimated £17 billion, and has invested more into the club than any other side in the Premier League, with a total of £1.3 billion spent on Pep's Manchester City outfit. Not only has Mansour pumped money into the club to help them win 3 Premier League titles, 3 League Cups and the FA Cup in their most successful era ever, but the owners from the UAE have stated their own empire could change the world of football as we know it. The City Football Group now possess a portfolio of 7 different teams after securing the ownership of Chinese side Sichuan Jinyu this year. Spawned from the Abu Dhabi Group, the CFG own New York City, Melbourne City, Yokohama F. Marinos, Club Atletico Torque, Girona FC and Sichuan Jinyu. Never has such a footballing empire been built, and if they continue to develop, we may well see the fruits of their labour ripen. With the City Football Group managing clubs across the world, from Uruguay to Australia, it gives the organisation resources all around the world, which could change how investors look towards the sport as business opportunities allow them to deal within themselves. 7. Red Bull. The City Football Group's only rival in terms of sporting kingdom so far is Red Bull. Owning 4 clubs doesn't come close to the unprecedented power of Sheikh Mansour's wealth or reach, yet it does prove multi-club ownership is growing. RB Leipzig, New York Red Bulls, Red Bull Salzburg and Red Bull Brazil make up the originally named franchise. Yet whilst you'd expect a corporate ownership and modernisation to have a negative effect on the game, such as the Salzburg fans splitting off to form their own club rather than be rebranded under the new energy drink sponsor, the Red Bull outfit are seemingly changing the footballing world for the better. So far we've seen Red Bull rejecting big money, rejecting quick transfers, stopping rising ticket prices and investing money and time into academy developments, while Salzburg and Leipzig have also proved their identity lies with attractive football. In an ideal world, lifelong fans would own football clubs and doctors would be paid more than footballers, but let's be real, huge corporations are now the only ones who can afford a slice of the footballing market. And it looks like multi-club ownership is where the future is heading. Let's just hope they don't forget about the true fans. 6. Silvio Berlusconi. In 1986, Silvio Berlusconi started what he described to be his romantic adventure with AC Milan. The media tycoon and former president of Italy changed the outlook of Serie A and moulded the idea of a footballing brand. Over 31 years as a constant in Milan, Berlusconi's reign saw 8 Serie A titles and a total of 29 trophies added to their cabinet. At the time, Italian football had been mainly a family-owned affair, yet Berlusconi's vision for AC introduced a more entrepreneurial way of thinking. Equipped with deep pockets and experience in building business empires, he looked at the Rossoneri as a produce he could sell. He made Milan more of a lifestyle with clothing lines and even made them the most popular side in Italy, outselling any club with 60,000 season tickets. He also ensured they were kept entertained with attractive progressive football played by the game's biggest stars. Whilst Berlusconi's vision and influence at the time could be compared to that of Florentino Perez's control over Real Madrid now, the Italian stint in Milan came to a bitter end with sexual controversies, homophobic and racist remarks, tax evasion and links to the mafia. Not a nice guy. 5. Roman Abramovich. The Premier League has a lot to blame Russian billionaire Roman Abramovich for since bringing the concept of buying silverware to West London. Having brought Chelsea in 2003, the Blues secured 5 Premier League titles, a Champions League, a Europa League and 5 FA Cup triumphs. His investment put Chelsea on the map and brought the biggest names over to the Premier League. Not only did the money tempt stars over, but the injection of a new club at the top of the game made English football even more competitive. Whether or not you think his model of buying talent and titles has been good for the footballing world, it's clear to see that he's been one of the most influential owners in footballing history. As influential as he has been in the past, the club are now in crisis, with Maurizio Sarri's nightmare form on the pitch, Hazard's potential exit, and now a 2-year transfer ban hitting the club. Whether or not he chooses to sell remains to be seen, but what can't be denied is he'll go down in history as one of the Premier League's key figures. 4. Wang Jianlin. Historically, Atletico Madrid have been Spain's 3rd strongest club behind their neighbours and the Blaugrana. Their last La Liga title came in 2013-14 under current coach Diego Simeone, the very same year they reached the Champions League final. But since 2010, Los Rojiblancos have been an average of 19 points behind the leaders. In January 2015, 6 months after their UCL defeat, Wang Jianlin became the first Chinese owner of a European club when he bought a 20% stake in Atletico. Head of China's biggest property company called Dalian Wanda and the nation's 2nd richest man, he kick-started the Chinese takeover of football. Since Jianlin took a stake in La Liga, Espanyol, AC Milan, Inter Milan and Lyon have also benefited from Chinese investment. The biggest benefit Jianlin has had over the Madrid side is the development of their huge new stadium, the Wanda Metropolitano, which is named after his company. The new 68,000-seater has created a huge surge in profit. Commercial revenue has risen from €53 million in 2015 to €89 million this year, and over the last 5 years, total profit has more than trebled. Just 3 years on from his investment, Jianlin opted to sell 17% of his stake to Israeli-born billionaire Idan Ofer. However, with Atleti now sitting as the 13th richest club in the world and 2nd in La Liga, it's clear that the Chinese cash injection has completely changed their financial state and allowed them to keep hold of their biggest stars and challenge their historical form as Spain's 3rd side. 3. Fosun International. In the 1980s, Wolves were twice saved from liquidation before being saved by a lifelong fan for just £2.1 million. A brief stint in the Premier League in the early noughties was followed by a dip down to League One. Steve Morgan, who had then bought the Midlands side in 2007, put them back up for sale in 2015 when in the Championship. Some would say luckily for the Wanderers, Chinese investment company Fosun International were the unexpected buyers and took up 100% of the club by 2016. Never before had the company, worth an estimated $60 billion, shown an interest in football, but their heavy investment started immediately following the Chinese Premier's changing strategy around sport. The selection of Wolves came down to one man, super agent Jorge Mendes. The man who was famously dubbed the world's best by Sir Alex Ferguson became a major figure behind the scenes in the Black Country. Over the last 2 seasons, 16 of his clients have moved to the Midlands, including Jimenez, Vinagre, Costa and Cavallero, meaning that 8 of their regular starters this season season have come from Mendes' roster of talent. Fosun's dodgy links to Mendes run pretty deep, but as of yet, all investigations have found zero foul play, so the club, now sitting in 7th place, can continue to relish their success in the short term. But in the long term, this could get very sticky. If you want to find out more about Wolves and the Fosun International group, why not tune in to the Sunday Vibes Extra Time podcast? The link is in the description below. 2. Florentino Perez. Since Florentino Perez became president in 2000, Real Madrid have become the richest club in the world and have secured an outrageous 24 major trophies. The Spaniard beat former owner Lorenzo Sanz to the position after promising the Los Blancos faithful he would improve their failing financial situation and sign star Luis Figo from their direct rivals Barcelona. After being elected came his Galactico policy. Star signings such as Figo, Zidane, Beckham and Ronaldo arrived and set a precedent of signing the best players around the world. In his first term he won 2 championships and Real's record 9th European Cup, and also claimed success in clearing the club's debt. By 2007, just 7 years under his influence, Real Madrid became the most valuable football brand in the world. After a 3-year stint out of presidency, Perez announced in 2009 he'd be making a return again, and he was the only real candidate able to provide the £57 million needed. Continuing his Galactico form, he signed Cristiano Ronaldo for a world record £80 million alongside Kaká, Benzema and Xabi Alonso. After winning 3 Champions Leagues in a row for the first time in history, Perez has almost certainly written his name in Madrid's history forever. His Galactico policy has led the way in signing big names at big prices, a formula that has since been stolen across Europe. As to whether his legacy will be a positive or a negative one though, remains to be seen. Number 1. Vishay Srivadhanaprabha. On the 27th October 2018, tragedy hit the King Power Stadium when Leicester City owner Vishay Srivadhanaprabha, 3 passengers and the pilot were killed as their helicopter crashed shortly after taking off. Tributes to the miracle worker came thick and fast, and it's clear that his ownership of the Foxes will have a long-lasting effect on English football. The Thai businessman, who was worth a reported $5 billion, pledged to invest $180 million to take Leicester up the Premier League. At the time, people barely paid attention, but just 6 years on from his investment, and Ranieri led the outsiders in a football fairy tale to the Premier League title. Not only had he bankrolled their success, but Srivadhanaprabha had an approach to ownership far from the usual sunglasses and scarves filling out private boxes. He and his vice chairman's son, Top, regularly thanked their loyal fans. After avoiding relegation in 2015, they handed out vouchers for a free bar, with free drinks, pizzas, hot dogs and cakes commonplace at the King Power. Even 60 season tickets were gifted to supporters to celebrate the owner's 60th birthday. Multi-million-pound donations to local hospitals and universities meant that his generosity and goodwill wasn't limited to the football pitch. The entire footballing community can learn a hell of a lot from an owner like Srivadhanaprabha.
That's it. I hope you guys have enjoyed the video. If you have, make sure you've hit the like button down below and tell us what you thought in the comment section. And why not check out the video on screen? I'm sure you guys will love it. As always guys, subscribe to the channel and we'll see you later.